Hello and thanks for joining us here on France 24 for France in Focus. This edition coming to you from in and around the northern French city of Calais, where thousands of people have flocked during the course of the past year, having fled poverty and warfare in their own countries. We're in a place dubbed the jungle by the media, but for many people, this isn't their final destination. That's over there, across the channel in the United Kingdom. Let's start by meeting one of this camp's residents. His name is Faisal. He's come from Jalalabad in Afghanistan. Tell me about your journey from Afghanistan to Calais. How did you get here?
It's really hard, the situation. As everybody knows, you have to cross the seas, the borders, the fences, and you have to walk, trained, with hunger, no food. So it's really hard and difficult to make a journey.
How long have you been here in Calais?
And it's been 4 months. I'm living in Calais, jungle. So basically I wanted to try to go to England. I think it's getting really hard nowadays. The problem is there are some people who wants to go to try and they're afraid. I mean, the people who live in jungle, they don't want to go to try because the police violence, the fashion, and there are some people who try to beat the refugees. They're not treating them well. So most people, they're afraid to go.
Tell me a little bit about your daily life here in Calais. What do you do every day?
Basically, there's nothing to do. Always just hoping for a better situation to get across, and I'm learning French now. So there's a jungle book which is really helpful, and otherwise you can pass your time there rather than stay home and someone to avoid the stress.
Do you find people are helping you? Are people helping to make your life here more comfortable?
So unfortunately, I haven't seen any French people who help here. Even they live close to the jungle, and I've seen some, but not too many. And the most people there are from England, from Belgium, from Netherlands. I have spoke to them, and they continually to help with the refugees.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Faisal. Thank you for speaking to France 24.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Well, thousands of people have travelled from far and wide and ended up stranded in camps just like this one in Calais, unable to go any further. And yet, despite their desperation, there are still people out there who are trying to profiteer and make money out of them.
Not far from Dunkirk, around 300 people call the Tettegum camp home. And here, people smugglers have begun infiltrating the groups of migrants. They charge up to 5,000 euros to cross into the UK and have now begun to impose their own law in the camps.
There's this water fountain with drinking water to cater for migrants' basic needs. Some of them came to thank us but said, "Thank you, it's really helped, but you should know that now we are obliged to pay to stay in this camp."
People smugglers have begun charging migrants rent to stay on the camp, between 5 and 10 euros per person per night, the mayor says. But some migrants are too scared to talk about it, especially in the presence of the people smugglers. One man agreed to be filmed anonymously.
You have to pay. If you don't pay, they don't let you to stay there.
Okay. Did you pay them to help you to pay?
Of course.
How much do you pay?
£2,000. If they don't like people, they hit them, Yeah, it's too dangerous, yeah? Also, they have guns, you don't know what to do.
From Tettegum to Calais, people smuggler networks are prospering in the misery of the migrants. Last year, 21 networks were shut down. The problem for authorities is knowing who's a migrant and who's part of a people smuggler network. In Tettegum, to get rid of the human traffickers, the mayor found only one solution. He'll be closing the camp at the end of winter.
For business owners here in Calais, the migrant crisis has had a very clear impact on the local economy, with shops and restaurants feeling the effects of a sharp decrease in visitor numbers. Well, Calais was once a popular destination for people from across the Channel, but now it's become a place that's increasingly associated with illegal encampments.
They live right outside the so-called jungle and they don't like it. When these residents bought their homes, Calais was a quiet town, not a place known for its migrant camp, which they say makes their neighborhood insecure and dirty.
There's trash on the road all the way to the sports store. We'll get rats and other animals, and it's going to be worse in the summer.
It destroys our neighborhood. No one wants to buy our houses.
Few migrants come to Calais' historic center, but its businesses, restaurants and bars are all empty. In the northern town, 16% of adults are already unemployed. And the crisis could destroy about 1,000 other jobs.
It's not the migrants' fault. We've had migrants for 15 years in Calais. It's the city's image that's the problem. The camp, the jungle, the slum isn't being managed. It gives us a bad name.
This is what happens next to their homes every day. Migrants break into trucks hoping to illegally cross the border into England, their destination. Their sometimes violent attempts to get on ferries have hit the port's business, scaring tourists away. In 2015, travels by ferry were down 10%. And in recent months, many tourists have canceled their reservations in hotels and camping sites that used to be popular.
Every day, clients cancel their reservations because they're scared of the migrants. Here they wrote, "Our children are toddlers. We're concerned because cars are being attacked when they try to get on the ferries."
Other British tourists believe Calais is safe and maintain their visits. Meanwhile, some of Calais residents try to help out the migrants. This woman used to recharge their phones.
Afternoon, finish at 3 o'clock because today is special.
A help many are happy to get before they leave for the UK.
Well, we're now at another camp about 40 kilometers away from Calais in Migrant, which is just outside Dunkirk. And I'm joined by the Médecins Sans Frontières project manager for this area, Angelique Muller. Thank you so much for speaking to us. Just tell us, what is Médecins Sans Frontières focusing its efforts on at this particular camp?
So in this current camp, we are doing some medical consultation with a mobile clinic. We are doing the showers as well. We are providing hot shower for people. We implement and we increase the number of toilets as well. And we have a team, outreach team, doing some sensitization, following the sick people, following vulnerable people, doing some hygiene sensitization as well.
Are some of the people arriving in a very poor medical condition? What sorts of problems do people typically have?
They are completely exhausted, for sure. They have back pain and general pain when they arrived. After that, linked to all this condition of weather, and you can see the mud everywhere, you can see the water even in the tent. So they are getting finally sick and they are coughing, they have some fever, they have all this respiratory tract infection, and they are not cured because still with this weather, and you have some scabies as well inside.
I understand there's plans to build another camp not far from here. Is that the solution, to keep building more camps, do you think?
It's a solution to give some better way and something human for the people, because they arrive here and they have this poor condition. This is unacceptable. So it's an objective to provide a good place to be and to set and to have a good hygiene. But this is not the solution to solve all the problem. The solution should be handled in terms of government, in terms of Europe, in terms of asylum, to have more information for them, in terms personally, to have information for asking some asylum here in UK or everywhere.
Okay, well, thank you so much for speaking to us, Angelique Muller from Médecins Sans Frontières. Thank you so much again for speaking to France 24. Well, as we heard there are plans to build more camps in the area. But one of the other ways in which the authorities are trying to relieve the pressure on camps like this one, which are overflowing with people, is by offering people the chance to seek asylum and to remain here in France.
The high fences and tight security seem to discourage attempts to leave, but the sprawling camp in Calais can't accommodate its thousands of residents. So authorities here are trying a new solution, convincing migrants to give up their dream of crossing the Channel and make a new life in France.
You've already made your way across Sudan, Libya, the Mediterranean, then Italy. You've been here for 2 or 3 months now. You deserve to be sheltered in a warm, dry place where you can eat, sleep, and really think about what you want to do next. If you apply for asylum in France, if you ask for protection, you could be granted asylum in a few weeks.
But their mission isn't as easy as it might seem.
Everyone here wants to join family members in England. No one has family here in France. That's why we can't stay here. It's also very difficult to find work here.
With an unemployment rate above 10% and notoriously complicated labour laws, France poses problems for many of the migrants who think the UK would offer an easier transition. About 90% of the 4,000 people in the Calais jungle are believed to be eligible for asylum, having fled violence or persecution. As more European countries shut their borders and tighten controls, many see this approach as a paradox.
No, it's not that. The asylum situation in France is nothing like that in Germany. Last year we had 80,000 requests for asylum. In Germany they had 1 million. It's not at all the same. Calais is unique. People cannot go to the UK because authorities there don't want to accept them. The situation here requires us to make extra effort.
Each week, representatives from the Office for the Protection of Refugees and the Stateless come back to make their pitch, with some successes.
He says he does want to stay in France. He's already asked for asylum, and he has an appointment in 3 days. He says he's ready. He's ready today.
Since October, some 500 families have applied for French asylum and left the jungle.
Well, this is where we leave you for this edition of France in Focus. Thank you very much for watching and see you again soon here on France 24.